Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today I have a very interesting and I would say very impromptu video, and that is a side-by-side comparison of the all-new 2024 Chevy Traverse Z71, nearly fully loaded, as well as a 2024 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy. Now you might be asking yourself, well, this is not an equal comparison in terms of trim, given that the RS would be the equivalent to that of a Palisade Calligraphy, and I have to agree. However, there's one aspect that is extremely even between each of these two vehicles behind me, and that is going to be the near $55,000 price point. In fact, the 2024 Traverse seen over there is actually more expensive than this Palisade as seen here in its top Calligraphy all-wheel drive trim level. So basically, you can equip a Z71 Traverse to be equivalent in terms of price point of an SL Premium Palisade, a Limited Palisade, or a Calligraphy, depending on how you do it, spec it, and the features, options, packaging, everything like that. So basically between a $47,500-ish price point on the Traverse, all the way up to over $55,000 if you do choose an extra cost iridescent pearl paint color as seen here. So if you want to know a little bit more about the 2024 Traverse seen in this video, make sure to check out the dedicated walk around video I have on it here in a separate video on the channel. And of course, I have tons of videos on the Palisade, no matter which trim level that you do looking at. So basically in this video, I just want to give you my first impressions of the Traverse versus that of the Palisade, things that I see walking around the exterior. This is not going to be an in-depth feature comparison, because the Traverse obviously has a couple things that the Palisade does not, including the hands-free Super Cruise functionality, but doesn't have things like, you know, heated second row seats, ventilated front seats, some of the other aspects that you'll find in the luxury trim levels of that of the Palisade. So I would say if you're looking at a Palisade Calligraphy, do compare it to a Traverse RS, given that the features and options will obviously be much more closer. And I actually think I do, thinking about it, have a video Traverse versus Palisade here on the channel, going over those features in depth. So make sure to check out that video. I totally forgot that I did film that a couple months ago, but I believe I do have that available to you guys. But anyways, let's not waste more time, quit rambling, take a look at these two vehicles behind me. So on my left, I have a 2024 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy finished in robust emerald with the black Napa leather interior. This one stickers, I believe, just over or right around $54,000 to $55,000, including all-wheel drive and destination. And then on my right, I have a 2024 Chevy Traverse Z71 finished in iridescent pearl tri-coat with the Evotex black and red two-tone interior. Now that is a $1,000 upcharge over there on the Z71, in addition to some of the other options and features that this one has, which pushes it just over the $55,000 price point, including destination. Of course, it does have the standard, more advanced all-wheel drive system versus that of some of the regular Traverses equipped with all-wheel drive. Now, one of the things that you can see immediately here with the more beefy Z71 trim versus that of the Palisade is the size differential. Now, there's not a massive size difference in terms of length, width, or height, but given this one, it sits a little bit taller than that of the regular Traverses, it makes it look a little bit more extreme than it actually really is. So you can see over there, this one sits up, the hood line is several inches higher than that of the Palisade. You have more of the gloss black accents over there with the Traverse Z71 versus that of the nicer satin chrome over here on the left side. You have the additional red recovery hooks over here on the Traverse, which gives it obviously a little bit more capability off-road with the more advanced all-wheel drive system, of course the all-terrain tires. You have the skid plates down below, which offer a little bit of additional protection, which of course the Palisade does not, but that's not really the target audience of the Palisade, is the off-road crowd, where this one in this Z71 trim really is. You have LED headlights and turn signals and everything like that at both of the front ends of each of these. Parking sensors, both front, rear, and side on both of them. Of course, you do have the remote smart park assist functionality on the Palisade, where you do not on the Traverse. I really do like the iridescent pearl here on this one. And then coming around the side of the Traverse, you can see nice black accents with the all-terrain tires, which are about 32-inch in diameter. And of course, coming around to the back of each of these vehicles, you'll find more LED lighting with the tail lights, turn signals, and I believe incandescent reverse lights farther down on the rear bumper, which is actually a similarity between these. Both the reverse lights are going to be located down below. Nice quad tip chrome outlet exhaust. I really do like how they did the gloss black accents here on this generation Traverse with the license plate. There's the backup camera with integrated washer nozzle, with the digital rear view camera mirror, which actually both of these vehicles do have, so that's a common aspect there. But you can really see the more aggressive stance over there on the Traverse. Once again, coming down the side, there's quite a bit of difference there. And then over here on the Palisade, of course, you get the nice paint mesh trim, the nice chrome accents around the sides for the door handles, the trim around the windows, the roof rails. There's the LED lighting for the taillights, turn signals, and then your reverse lights are located here on the rear bumper. Once again, parking sensors around the entire side. And there you have the single dual outlet exhaust with, of course, the H-track badging on the passenger side of the tailgate. So that is pretty much going to be the exterior in a nutshell. Obviously, this one looks much more luxurious, have the paint match trim than that of the Traverse over there in the Z71. But again, that is not the target demographic for the Z71 in specific, where that is kind of the goal of the top calligraphy Palisade, is to be the most luxurious, feature-packed that Hyundai currently has to offer. Now taking a look on the interior, of course, all of the differences are going to pertain to not only some of the materials, but also the designs between each of these two manufacturers, because this is traditional recent GM with a lot of their materials, although there are a huge number of improvements here on the interior of this next generation Traverse between even that of the last generation or some of the other models that GM currently offers. But I really do like the amount of soft touch materials, for example, that they have near the windowsill on all 4 doors. And same with the center armrest with the Evotex material, the nice red accent stitching, and of course all that nice satin chrome brightwork around the window controls, the speaker down there. This one does have the optional Bose premium audio system, and then you have this nice cool plastic red trim that goes from a brighter red into a darker red the closer you get to the dashboard. Now, a lot of the switchgear we're going to be very familiar from the last 2, 3, 4 years, depending on the vehicle that you're looking at from General Motors. So I would say, you know, switchgear wise, it's going to be pretty much hit or miss. Personal preference, I guess, which one you prefer, whether you like the Traverses or the Palisades. But I will say the Palisade might have a few more nicer premium materials on the inside. There's the power seat, 4-way power lumbar, Evotex upgraded on this one. You do have the nice embroidered Z71 badging on the headrest, which I actually do appreciate. And then taking a look at the dashboard, this one does have the driver assistance package, which gives you the Super Cruise functionality for the steering wheel, as well as the attention monitoring assist sensor there on the upper panel for the steering wheel column. But one thing I will say is this is a very beefy steering wheel, very thick. Is actually one of the thickest steering wheels I've ever seen in a production vehicle that I've actually been hands-on with. So if you're not a fan of that, that might be a negative to getting the Super Cruise or the new Traverse in general. I'm not exactly sure if the steering wheel diameters are going to be the same with or without it, but that's just one thing I noticed immediately. But you can see you have the nice fully digital cluster behind the steering wheel paired to the nice fully digital instrument cluster. Very large screens in both of these vehicles. I believe the digital cluster is slightly larger in the Palisade versus that of the Traverse. But both of them are going to be nice, high resolution, obviously totally different UIs. The Palisade does not have the latest generation UI that Hyundai has to offer, but this Traverse does have the latest UI from General Motors. And once again, this is going to be personal preference, whether or not you like the Google integration, the Google Android Automotive OS behind the scenes. That is the actual operating system. It does have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which I think is fantastic. Amazon Alexa integration. There's the automatic hands-free parking assist functionality, all your vehicle statuses, headlight controls, everything like that is pretty much going to be done through the infotainment system, which is not the case over there for the Palisade. But yeah, let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of the Traverse's interior. Of course, you do have some hard touch buttons here to the left side of the steering wheel, which I do appreciate. Here you have the column mounted gear shift for the transmission, which is something new for GM that they've been starting to implement on some of their latest generation products. Some gloss black plastic here in the center console, which again, love or hate, personal preference. Storage cubby, 2 large cup holders, wireless charging pad, climate controls with your physical buttons and knobs. And there's the huge opening for the center console and additional storage space with the nice padding Evotex leatherette type material on the armrest. Now, black headliner, not super soft touch, kind of a little bit more on the rugged, durable side of things. LED lighting. There's the digital rear camera mirror. Unfortunately, no garage home link. There's the panoramic sunroof controls, and this vehicle does have a sunglasses holder, which I believe is much appreciated. That's actually a feature that's been going away in many new next generation products. And there's a look at the panoramic sunroof, shade isn't quite all the way open. It is a little bit on the slower side of things, but the sunroof opening in this particular vehicle is absolutely huge and much bigger than that of the Palisade. So if you're looking for the biggest sunroof, one that opens the farthest over the front seats, that is definitely going to be the Traverse is going to be your pick for that. Now, moving into the second and third rows of the Traverse, there's going to be also many key differences. Obviously, like I said, this one does not have all the features and options that is offered on this Traverse, but you'll find soft touch materials here on both sections, which is nice. You can see this is a 7-passenger configuration, which is only available in both of these two vehicles. So you cannot get either one of these trim levels in 8-passenger, but both vehicles in general in different trim levels can be had with 8-passenger bench seating in the second row. Fully manual controls for accessing the third row, and of course sliding and adjusting the captain chairs. So differences there. There's the tri-zone automatic climate for rear occupants, so that is pretty much going to be the same. USB-C charging, 120-volt wall outlet. There's cup holders at the top. Of course, there's the padded armrest, everything like that. And there is the large panoramic sunroof, which is totally different design versus the Palisade, which actually has 2 separate pieces of glass. And there you can see the access between the second row captain chairs. I will say I think this is a wider vehicle as a whole by a couple inches, so you do have a little bit of additional room here between the 2 front seats versus that of the Palisade. And then stepping into the third row, you can see you do have a bench third row. I will say the third row seat appears to be bigger here in the Traverse versus that of the Palisade. Given this new next generation is just a tad larger than the outgoing one. USB-C charging back here, and I think the seats, like I said, you just have a little bit more space in the back. I think it's a little bit more upright, a little bit more comfortable for full size or larger people as a whole. So this would definitely be my pick if I were going to sit in the third row. But of course, you don't have all the same amenities in the third row that Palisade does, including heated outboard third row seats and the power recline functionality. And I believe actually these seats actually do not recline at all in the third row. They're basically a fixed position, which is a little bit unfortunate. But space-wise, I think this is definitely the pick over the Palisade if you're actually needing to use the third row on a daily basis. But if you're not using the third row for most times, I think either one will be a solid option in terms of physical cargo room and everything like that. Now finally wrapping up here with cargo area behind the third row seats and with the third row seats folded down. Of course, both vehicles will have, I believe, hands-free power liftgates, which is new here for the Traverse. And you can see behind the third row seats, this is something that GM has improved over the last generation Traverse. Is the cargo area. You can see it is quite massive. It's going to be substantially larger than that of that Palisade over there. And then that is not even taking into account the massive storage bin here underneath the floor that this vehicle has. And there's your temporary spare tire beneath the bin. And then you don't have any additional subwoofers. You do have speakers up here for the Bose audio though. And there's a 12-volt outlet here on the side. And of course, the seats are going to be a manual folding design for both the third and second row occupants. So unfortunately, you can only get third row power seats in the Traverse RS and not available in any other trim level. And then finally here on the passenger front seat, this does not have any sort of power adjustments, just a 4-way manual seat design, which is a little bit unfortunate, but you can get additional features and options in other trims of the Traverse, of course. Now moving over here to the Hyundai Palisade. Taking a look on the interior, I think you're going to find a lot more features, options, and amenities for the same price point as that Traverse over there, maybe without all of the capability off-road and some of the other aspects that are unique to the Traverse. So looking at the door panel, you still have a soft touch material up here, not quite as soft, but the padded armrest in this back portion is going to be a much more luxurious material in my opinion. All 4 windows are going to be power automatic up down. You have this nice silver accent trim, memory seating, 2-person for the driver's side. There's the nice Harman Kardon premium audio system with a nice stainless steel accented grille, good amount of storage. And then coming to the driver's seat, the power adjustments and features is just going to be way better than that of the Traverse. With the Ergo Motion driver's seat, the power bladders or adjustments for the side cushions of the seats right here, so you can adjust them in and out. 4-way power lumbar, and then there's of course the power leg extensions, which you can do via that right there for additional comfort for longer legged drivers or something like that. Now, in terms of the seating materials, Nappa leather seating, so this is going to be a genuine, real high-quality leather versus the Evotech synthetic. Basically personal preference, but I think Nappa leather is certainly the way to go. And then taking a look at the dashboard, now you can see this is kind of a little bit dated in terms of what Hyundai has to offer, but still is very, very nice. Nice Nappa leather heated steering wheel, so both vehicles are going to have heated front seats and heated steering wheel. But of course you do get the ventilated front seats and heated and ventilated second row seats with the heated third row seats in the Palisade. I know the list kind of goes on, but there's the 12.3-inch fully digital instrument cluster, with the 12.3-inch infotainment system. Once again, Hyundai's last generation UI. So still very easy to use. I think it's actually a little bit better than GM's latest system in some regards. There's definitely give and take there in terms of ease of use and integrations with physical buttons and knobs, but personal preference. Let me know your pick down in the comment section below. Dedicated tow haul mode, power lift gate, you know, traction control off, auto high beam assist, rain sense wipers in this one that the Traverse in that trim level does not have. And then coming over here to the audio multimedia shortcut buttons, there's the dedicated volume and tune knob with all the infotainment stuff. Touchscreen climate controls for the tri-zone automatic climate control, gear shift here on the center console, drive mode select with a dedicated center differential lock, very similar to that of the Traverse over there. But of course that one has a much better rear differential for additional off-road capability, including the tires and stuff. There's all of your heated, ventilated, heated steering wheel, wireless charging pad, Hyundai Digital Key 2.0 in this one, so you can use iOS or Android. Nice soft touch padded center console. And one of the big differences that I can point out is the suede headliner here is much, much more luxurious in the Palisade versus the Traverse. Both have the digital camera mirror. This one does have garage home link. This does have a mirror instead of a sunglasses holder. And then there is the sunroof controls as well as the power shade for the second row occupants. So you can see the sunroof is a little bit on the smaller side for the front seat, but I would say slightly larger for the second row with the fixed pane of glass back there, which integrates very well. So taking a look at the second and third row seats of the Palisade, obviously materials are going to be the same as the front seat, but in terms of features and amenities, once again, you're going to get the side manual shades. You're going to get nice materials here on the door panel, integrated cup holders. You have some power release functionalities for not only the second row seats, but full power adjustments for the third row. And once again, there's the 7-seater captain's chairs. You have the wing out headrests, which are adjustable. Basically can center your head on the actual middle of the headrest. A little bit of additional comfort there. And in terms of amenities, heated and ventilated second row seats. There's the automatic climate control. Still have the 115 volt, 12 volt charging, USB-C integration. There's the nice map pockets, AC vents, LED lighting. There's the fixed pane of glass. And then, yeah, like I said, I think there is a little bit more space here in between the second row seats and the Traverse that unfortunately you do not get here in the Palisade, but you do get adjusting, ratcheting armrest, so you can adjust that to your ideal comfort level, which is just a little bit more advanced than the Traverse. And then finally stepping into the third row, this is where I think the Traverse and some of the newer vehicles in this segment shine versus the Palisade, and that is going to be third row seat comfort. Now, legroom is going to be better in the Traverse. The seat just kind of stuck forward there, but obviously no one's going to be able to sit there comfortably. But, you know, my legs are up a little bit higher, as you can see, at a steeper angle. Headroom is going to be, I would say, a little bit less in the Palisade as well. And I think the key benefits here is you get more features and options back here, but the overall usable space is going to be less, unfortunately. So you can recline the seats back, which actually helps a little bit with comfort. And you do get the heated seat functionality, 3-stage for the outboard positions with the USB-C charging. Cup holders, armrests, vents, all that's pretty much going to be the same. But if you do need to use the third row on a daily basis, I think the Traverse easily has the additional space, hands down. But unfortunately not all of the feature and creature comforts that this vehicle has. Now taking a look at the cargo area behind the third row seats, immediately you're gonna see some of the differences between each of these two. And yeah, I would say, you know, maybe not quite double over there in the Traverse, but substantially more area with the third row seats up in terms of cargo area. and stuff like that. Now you do have the subwoofer for the premium audio, all the power controls for the power up down third row, power release second row. There's the 12-volt power outlet, and then beneath the floor you do still have a very large storage area where you can put the sunshade or other tools back here. There's your roadside toolkit, but you don't have quite as much overall room if you're needing the third row seats. But with them folded down, both vehicles are going to be extremely plentiful in space. I still think the Traverse over there does have just a little bit more cargo area as a whole, just due to its larger nature. Now coming over here to the passenger front seat, once again, you're gonna get more adjustability. So you have a power adjustment driver seat, passenger seat with two-way power lumbar. It does have height adjustment and of course all the other usual adjustments for the passenger side. And there you can see the glove box, which does have an LED light inside so you can see better at night. But that's just gonna be a really basic overview and some of the high level points of a Traverse Z71, nearly fully loaded, to that of a Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy, both right around the $55,000 price point. And I guess one other item that is definitely worth mentioning is the powertrain and drivetrain behind each of these two vehicles. So of course, as we know, the Traverse is the first vehicle in GM's lineup to use the new 2.5 liter turbocharged four-cylinder, which puts out about 328 horsepower, 326 pound-feet of torque, either to the front wheels only or all four wheels if you do select all-wheel drive. And this is paired to an 8-speed torque-converted automatic transmission. Now over here with the Palisade, this is one of the last vehicles, I believe, in this class to still use a 3.8 liter naturally aspirated V6 engine, so no turbos, nothing like that yet in this platform. I do expect the next generation Palisade to integrate maybe a hybrid or turbo engine option as at least one of the engine or powertrain configurations. But this engine puts out about 280 horsepower and I believe about 262 pound-feet of torque, again, either to the front wheels or all four wheels with all-wheel drive, paired to a 8-speed automatic transmission. So both have 8-speed torque-converted automatics, turbocharged four-cylinder with much more output, not only in terms of horsepower, but also torque versus the Palisade, but I would say a more traditional feeling old school powertrain, which was very similar to that of the outgoing Traverse, which also used a naturally aspirated V6. So it comes down to personal preference, which one you would choose. I would probably take the 2.5 liter turbo over here just for the additional output, but I have yet to drive that vehicle, so I can't really say exactly how it drives, other than it does feel much more substantial, much taller, much beefier behind the wheel than this vehicle, likely due to a lot of the off-road bits that this Z71 has in particular. So yeah, let me know which one you choose down in the comment section below, but very interesting to see these two vehicles side by side. So I think that's pretty much gonna do it here for this quick side-by-side comparison of the all-new 2024 Chevy Traverse Z71 and the 2024 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy. Let me know your thoughts on each of these two down in the comment section below. I know there's gonna be a lot of comparison videos out there of this all-new next generation Traverse, and I wanted to just put this video out there because I happen to have a Palisade to review for the week. And you know, given the content I've produced on the Palisade, I've kind of made every video available on that vehicle thus far. So I thought this was a fitting comparison to make. So a huge thanks to Hyundai for sending this vehicle out for me to test and review. And of course, Green Chevrolet here in East Moline for the Traverse. This one is sold, but I know they do have several more inbound. So if you're interested in a Traverse, make sure to reach out here. I'll have a link down in the description below and see what they have coming in terms of their inventory. But I think the key takeaway here is that the Palisade still has certain features and options that you simply cannot get in any Traverse, even the top RS. But again, the Traverse has some new technologies, the powertrain, some items on the Z71 that you really can't get in any Palisade. So if you're looking for off-road capability, well, that's going to be easily the Traverse. If you're looking for the most luxurious vehicle, but a little bit on the smaller side versus the Traverse, well, that's easily going to be the Palisade. And the 2025 Palisade is going to be mostly unchanged versus the 2024. So if you're curious about that, there is not an all-new next generation Palisade coming until the 2026 model year, which, like I said, I fully expect to be a turbo powertrain, possibly even a hybrid introduced, and a bunch of new technology as well, given that this vehicle has been out since the 2023 refresh and 2020 when it first debuted in its current generation here in the United States. So that's pretty much going to be all the information I have here in this video. Make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe for additional content here on both these vehicles in the near future. And as always, I appreciate the support and hope to see you guys in the next one.